The Late Morning Program with Nam Ras Podcast.
Hare Krishna, we are live.
We're live. Okay.
Hare Krishna, everyone. You're listening to the Nam Ras Podcast, the number one Hare Krishna podcast in the world. I don't know if I've been so honored to have this guest with us.
This is really kind of unprecedented.
We are with him, Maharaj, at his ashram here in upstate New York. Maharaj, honestly, I feel embarrassed sitting on the same level as you. I wish I was sitting on the floor, but for the this is purely for logistical purposes. Thank you so much for agreeing to be interviewed by us. It's such an honor.
It's an honor for me to be with you.
Thank you, Maharaj. So we have His Holiness Satsvarupa Dasa Goswami Maharaj here on the not late morning program, Nam Ras Podcast. I'm a little frazzled because this is just that honor, such a deep honor. So Maharaj, you are one of the oldest Srila Prabhupada disciples on the planet today.
Yes.
And you have so many amazing stories of Srila Prabhupada from the early days. And so growing up in ISKCON myself, the only story that I really heard that was very popular was bringing a mango to Srila Prabhupada and how pleased he was by that. And he made some comments about devotion and that. But I'm sure there's so much more that you can share with us.
Yes.
Could you please start from the very, very beginning?
Okay. I'll start with shortly before I met Srila Prabhupada, what I was doing. I was living on the Lower East Side, close to where Srila Prabhupada set up his first headquarters at 26 Second Avenue. I just got out of the Navy at that time, and I had also graduated from Brooklyn College. In that order, or not in that order, I can't remember. But I felt a great freedom in getting out of the Navy and coming to the Lower East Side with my hip friends. So I was living in a slum apartment, all I could afford, and living on the discharge money that I had got from the discharge from the Navy. So I wasn't working at first. And after a while, I ran out of money. So I got a job with the welfare department in the city of New York as a caseworker. And their building was located on 5th Street, which was near Prabhupada at 2nd Avenue. And so it was just a short walk for me to go from my place of work. I pass his storefront and go to my apartment or stop somewhere to get lunch. And the storefront had a big sign in front of it, Matchless Gifts. And it was a store that sold gifts, silly little gifts, matchsticks in boxes, which featured Hollywood movie stars from the 40s and 50s. And they went out of business, which is not so unlikely, seeing what they were trying to sell. But one day I walked by the store and I glanced in and saw that it was out of business. No more store of Matchless Gifts, although the sign was still there. And there was a little sign in paper, rather, pasted to the window, and it said, Bhakti Yoga, classes in Bhakti Yoga, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 7 p.m., A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, not Prabhupada. And I had some interest already in Eastern things. I had read without understanding it, the Bhagavad Gita and other Eastern books. So I was interested, and the first chance I got, at 7 o'clock, I went into the storefront. And there were about 5 or 6 boys. You'll have to excuse me, I have a scratchy throat. Okay. I don't need it.
Okay.
And one of them introduced himself to me. He said his name was Raymond, and I shook hands with him. And
this was someone at the Mattress Gifts.
Yeah, he was already acquainted with the Swami and was attending the classes. I thought they were all more involved than I was. This was the first time for me, but it was only the second or third time for them also, because Swamiji was also just starting things up. And we called him Swamiji at that time, and did so for 2 years until 1968. And we thought it was a very endearing name for him until what happened. I'll tell you if I can in this time we have. So I saw this sign, and I took advantage of being a free man, not having to ask my parents if I could go, and just went in. And before too long, Swamiji started us in chanting. He didn't speak any lecture first. He started with the chanting. He handed out a few pairs of cartels, which he had brought from India, and he taught us how to chant 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, with the emphasis on the third beat, and crashing the cymbals together. And at first the boys couldn't get it right, and he stopped. He said, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then finally they got it together. They were chanting with him. And that was wonderful, chanting with the Swami. We were all looking to get high. We tried to get high on drugs. But we saw this as a high with the Swami. Oh boy, we're getting high. This is far out. And he led us into a state of euphoria and chanting with him. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. He had a baritone voice and very strong, no illnesses at that time. He led the chanting and we followed. He taught us what to do. It took a few minutes for us to get in tune with him. He chanted for half an hour in a very strong voice. And we followed. He chanted, we followed. He chanted, we followed. Then when it was over, it was a summertime and we were all sweating. And we were saying things like, wow, that was great. That was far out. I'm feeling really high. And he didn't stop us, asking us to be more civil or more behaved or anything. He was taking it as it came. And then after his chanting, we were all feeling high. And then he quieted us down, and then he began his lecture. So he gave a lecture on the Bhagavad Gita. And it was hard for us to understand his thick Indian accent, Bengali accent. So that was difficult. But the chanting was easy to do, and we got into it with him. So that was the wonderful part of it, getting high with the Swami.
And Marge, you were older, a few years older than everybody else,
Yes,
right?
I was. Even in the beginning, I was 25, 26.
And
that was considered like older at that time.
And everyone else was like, what, 18?
Yeah.
Wow.
Do you, Marge, what do you remember of the actual storefront at this time? Was it, what sort of visually, what do you remember?
Well, I understand they're trying to rebuild it like it was.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so it was pretty neat. It wasn't dirty or anything, although there were cockroaches present. But it was a place that had just been a store, Mattress Gifts, and now it was a ashram for the Swami. And so it was pretty stripped down. There was no Indian paraphernalia there until a little later when the boys who had been to India, that was Hayagriva, who got initiated as Hayagriva. At first he was Howard and Ray Rama. He didn't go to India. But Howard, Kirtananda, they went to India and they came back with rugs and posters, and they put them all up in the storefront. And Prabhupada came in one day and he saw them all, and he was very pleased that it had turned into a kind of Indian place. And so they showed him around the walls and showed him the new things that had been put up. And he said, Swamiji, who is this? He said, is he a monkey? He said, he is Hanuman. He's not exactly a monkey. He is a great devotee. And who is this? This is Ram. And this is Krishna. So he showed us how the devotees had transformed the place by bringing in posters, rugs, and things to make it more of an ashram, although it was still a funky storefront.
And throughout this whole time, you were working.
Yeah, and I didn't quit working.
And Marge, I think Prabhupada was quite pleased with that. You were kind of contributing your income towards the mission.
Yes, he was pleased that I was working. I was working, and another devotee, Rupanuga, was working. I was a caseworker. He was above me. He was a supervisor.
In the same department?
He worked in a different borough than I did.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I worked on the Lower East Side. He worked somewhere else.
Okay.
Brooklyn or something.
But you both worked for the city and
Yeah.
you were contributing.
So, I don't know, I'm jumping ahead a little, but I quickly adopted to Prabhupada's ways, and I shaved my head, which he liked very much. As soon as I shaved my head, he said, thank you, when he saw me with a shaved head. And then I transformed myself by wearing tilak. And I still went into work. And as soon as I did that, the supervisor of the whole place called me in. He said, what are you doing? Why are you dressed like this and transformed like this? And I told him, this is my religion. I told him a little bit about the Bhagavad Gita, which I knew of, and that it wasn't something that he should trifle with. It was a serious thing. I wasn't just playing a hippie game on the welfare department. So he took it seriously too. And the welfare department is a very liberal place. They're taking in people who have no money and looking in their homes and giving them money. And they don't frown on people who are a little strange. So he accepted me with my tilak and shaved head. And a little later with wearing a Jagannath head around my neck. So that was something for them to accept and for me to accept, that I was working there as a strange person, but as a devotee of Krishna. So what else?
You mentioned that we were jumping ahead a little bit. What is it, if we want to go back a little bit? Is there any other details you'd like to?
No.
Okay.
Lunch? Yeah, with the boys, that was part of your day. Oh, that was
yes,
a little
yeah.
later.
Okay.
But Swamiji took lunch by himself. He cooked for himself. And a little later, his first disciple sort of was Keith, who we initiated as Kirtanananda, and he cooked for Swamiji. And then Achyutananda cooked for Swamiji second. So Prabhupada ate what they cooked for him, and a little later he started cooking for 12 or 10 people who had gathered around him and became followers. And they ate with him, with him sitting on the same level as they on the floor. But he would serve the prasadam himself, and soon after they ate, they would walk out and leave him to clean up. And after a while, that changed too. Gradually, we understood that he was a spiritual master, and he doesn't clean up, we clean up.
Right.
Maharaj, do you have a sense or a memory of when you started feeling like you were part of this group, right? Because you came to the first kirtan, you had a nice experience. At a certain point, did it start to dawn on you, like, oh, I'm one of the Swamiji's boys. I'm one of the gang, so to speak.
I guess, as Baladev said, lunch. When I started joining the 10 people who took lunch with him at 1:00, then I felt I was part of the followers. So that was the point, I think.
And so even while you were working, you would come have
Yeah.
lunch and then go back to work.
Yeah, one day my supervisor told me I couldn't go out at 1:00. I had to stay in and work on a case. So I was very upset. And I phoned him on the phone that was still in Swamiji's apartment. I said, Mr. Rice, no, I called Swamiji. I said, Swamiji, this is Steve. Do you remember me? He said, yes. And I said, I can't come for lunch at 1:00 today. My supervisor told me to stay in. Could you save me a plate? That was a little
Sweet,
bold of me, but
but also very sweet. Also very intimate.
he said,
and
yes,
sweet.
I can save a plate. So I had to come in an hour late, and when I went there, everyone was gone. The rug was rolled up. But Swamiji got one plate that was now cooled off, and he put it on the floor for me to eat. And I thought, eating off the floor? This is what a dog does. But then I accepted it right away that this was Indian and should eat off the floor. And he gave me the plate and he walked away. And I bowed down to him for the first time I did. I saw other boys had bowed down to him. I didn't. In fact, Gargamuni said to him, I don't feel like bowing down to you when I see the others do. Do I have to bow down? And Swamiji said to him, yes, you do.
That was it. He just said, yes, you do.
Yeah.
It's not what I was expecting.
Wow.
And
Everything Prabhupada is just teaching, right? Everything
Yeah,
is
I mean,
like,
yeah. It's
yeah.
how else
clean
was,
slate.
Yeah.
So what was I saying?
The first time you
Oh,
bowed down to Swamiji.
Yeah. I said, I bowed down to him and he said, thank you. And that moved me very much. And I was so happy to eat off the cold food that would cooled off with my hand. And I enjoyed the prasadam, chapati, rice, dal, vegetable. I like the Indian preparations.
When you think back to that time, Maharaj, is it something that you can just immediately get back to because it's such a core memory, or is it a little blurry, or it's like it's also something that's very connected to your heart, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's connected to my heart, but some of the things are blurry. But I remember the most important things. And it developed a little later. At first, I held back a little. And there was a particular time when I went forward. I held back so much because I wanted special attention. That was a special thing with me. I didn't want to be just treated like an ordinary devotee, but I wanted special attention.
From Prabhupada.
Yeah. And so he gave it to me one time, but at the beginning, when the first initiation came around, the situation was anyone could get initiated. If you want to get initiated, you can. Devotees asked them each other, are you going to get initiated? I don't know. Maybe. But whoever wanted to get initiated got initiated, and about 10 people did. But I decided I wasn't going to get initiated. I wanted to maintain my independence. I was really cherishing the independence I had by getting out of the Navy and living as a hipster on the Lower East Side. We didn't use the word hippie in those days.
Oh, really?
That developed later.
Oh, wow.
That was for those who used that word.
So you use the word hipster
Yeah, or hip.
or hip, right?
So
So you chose to
not
get
initiated.
initiated.
I chose,
and maintain.
yeah, I
your-
wanted to keep my independence.
Mm.
And I decided to type for him that night and not go to the initiation. So I stayed up all night. From the very beginning, he gave me typing because he saw I could type.
Ah.
And Hayagriva did the first editing, and then I did the typing to make it a perfect manuscript. And so on the night of Janmashtami, or the day of Janmashtami, I stayed in the temple all day and observed it and fasted. But then the initiation was in the evening. So when it came time for the initiation, I cut out and I went back to my apartment and I typed for him. And I typed for most of the night. He had given me so much material to type. He gave me stacks of Bhagavatam to type.
And
Yes.
were you kind of thinking, because you had mentioned that desire for special attention, were
Yes.
you kind of thinking, well, this is special, this is typing for Swami, everyone else can get initiated, but I'm doing.
Yeah.
Was that kind of like the?
Yes, I was thinking like that. And the next day when I went to give him the typing again in the morning, he right away say, I saw you weren't at the initiation. So I said, no, I was typing all night at my apartment. He said, that's all right. He didn't chastise me for not coming to the initiation. He just said, that's all right.
But you wanted to eventually take initiation.
Yeah, so then I saw that the boys, there were no girls yet, the boys all had red beads, big beads that were bought at Tandy's bead store around their necks. What?
have?
I don't have them on me.
Oh, wow.
The original red beads?
So we have the original, Maharaj
Yeah.
still has the original red beads.
I don't use them every day. I keep them locked away as a relic.
Wow.
And
Pretty priceless treasure, though.
I mean, I don't know who else from that time has those.
yeah, they break
Beads
or
to-
they.
Or they get lost. I mean, people
Yeah.
lose their initiation beads.
We
Well,
put them in a
Prabhu is
special
doing
box.
A little bit of
Oh,
here.
we can.
No problem. No problem.
Maharaj, maybe while Baladev Prabhu was getting the beads, I
Yeah.
did want to backtrack a little bit because I remember reading about, and I think we spoke about this some time ago, but here are the beads.
This emblem or drawing on the front, when it's not a drawing, it's a crocheting. It was done by Yamuna Dasi, the original Yamuna Dasi.
Really?
Yeah. It says Mahaprabhu.
Oh, wow.
That's okay.
And I'll
No
pull
worries.
out my beads.
Wow, I feel like I'm really like, it's like a witness to history. Look at this. These are the original.
Here are my beads. I chant on them once in a while, but I like to save
You're
them.
getting that in the shop,
Oh, wait, is it?
Prabhu? Wow, look at that. That's
And they're
amazing.
worn out, and the red brilliance is gone.
Goodness.
Oh, may I?
They must have been restrung over the years.
Yes.
Okay.
And right now it's got a real good knot on it and good strong
Oh,
string.
yeah, it's very strong.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Could you help me get it back in?
Sure.
I chanted on them for years, and then I decided to just save them. Like Rupa Goswami saved his beads.
Right. Here, I'll take the march.
Okay. I'm getting back to that next morning. I didn't get initiated, but I told him I was chanting. Is that all right?
Yeah, just hold it closer to you there. Okay, that's good.
So he accepted the most recent typing I had done. He gave me typing in big bunches. And when he gave me the latest bunch, I said, "You have given me enough typing to last a winter." And he said, "I have given you enough typing to last a year. I have enough to give you for a lifetime." He had them stored away in his closet, stacks and stacks of typing. And what was I going to say?
Well, Maharaj, I wanted to actually ask you,
Yeah.
so you held back from the first initiation, both kind of desiring to maintain your independence,
Yes.
but also with this sort of need for special attention or
Yes.
want for special attention. And then, and I remember we had talked about this, and I think I'd shared with you that reading this was something that was really meaningful for me personally. But you talked about how in that day after the first initiation, Srila Prabhupada, then Swamiji gave you like a personal invitation as well.
Yes.
Could you speak a little bit about that?
An invitation to go to the wedding?
Yes.
He gave me an invitation he said, I am holding a wedding of Mukunda and Janaki, and I invite you to come. So there it was, boom.
There was that personal invitation, that personal attention.
So I'm trying to remember. As you said, it gets fuzzy. But he told me, I saw they had beads and they had new names. Wow. Hayagriva was calling him Hayagriva, and he was calling him Kirtanananda, and I had no special name, just Steve. So I wanted to get initiated. And they asked one of the initiated devotees, could I get initiated too? And he said, why don't you go up and ask the Swami? So I went up and I met him alone in his room, and I said, I would like to get initiated. He said, well, you have to be a vegetarian. That was the only thing he mentioned as a condition. He didn't mention the 4 rules or anything. So I said, well, I'm already a vegetarian. I had been for 6 months. So he said, well, I'm going to hold another initiation at an auspicious day in a few weeks. So I said, can I get initiated then? And he said, yes. And that was Radharani's appearance date that he got. The next auspicious day happened to be Radhastami.
Right.
And 3 devotees got initiated then.
Do you remember who the others were?
It's a little contestable, but I think it's me, Kirtanananda, and Achyutanananda.
Oh.
Have you a different memory?
I don't recall
I know that
the second initiation.
I remember Kirtanananda being in that second batch, not the first one.
He was in the second batch because in the first batch he was in Bellevue
He was
Hospital.
in Bellevue Hospital, right?
Right.
So that I remember reading about. I'm not so sure what the others. Achyutananda was.
Oh yeah, he said he was taking a vacation from spiritual life for 1 week.
Wow.
Oh. That I mean, I'm sorry to keep going back to it, but because it was so, it struck me so profoundly. I did want to ask you a little bit of if you could share that kind of wanting to get sort of to have these personal exchanges with Prabhupada and to really kind of feel. I think that's something that a lot of us can relate to. I know I can
now that
certainly
it's
relate
so
to
big,
it.
it's hard to get it, or was hard to get it at the end of Prabhupada's life.
Yeah.
Hard for me to get it even.
Yeah. Can you just share a little bit more about that? And we can jump around and we can come back to that.
I want to
early
get
days.
something before it slips my mind.
Yes,
Sure,
please.
When I gave him that typing that day after the initiation that I missed,
Yes.
he said, this typing is not mechanical.
Huh.
If you love me, then I'll love you. So that really cracked through all my remaining resistance towards getting initiated. That he said, if you love me, then I'll love you.
How did you understand that? What did you understand that to mean?
Well, I understood it, that it wasn't mechanical, as he said, and that you really had to give yourself to him and not be holding back for any reasons.
Wow.
Even the reason that he was an Indian and I was a white man, or that he couldn't understand his accent or anything like that. No holding back. You have to really love him.
That it was reciprocal, that it was a relationship.
If you love me, then I'll love you. So boom, it really went through me. And from then on, I surrendered. It was a big change for me.
Yeah.
What did you have to change about your life to surrender?
Well, I finally had to give up my apartment. I was living in an apartment by myself, and I really treasured my solitude. I still do. But I had my own apartment, and I wrote there and lived there apart, not sleeping on the floor of the storefront or like devotees do in the ashrams, all sleeping together, living together. So I stayed apart. But one day I decided that I should give up my apartment too, because Swamiji was having to wait online to use the bathroom while the devotees were in the bathroom. And I thought, this isn't good that I had my own bathroom. So I made an announcement to the devotees that if anyone wants to use my apartment for the bathroom or anything, they can. Oh, they loved that, and they all started coming over to my apartment and using my bathroom and using my mattress and using everything I had. I was a little reluctant that I had given up my solitude, but glad that I had gained the association of the devotees. So that's what I had to give up. I had to give up my solitude.
Did you find it difficult transitioning
No,
from that sort of
I so
solitude
much like the
space?
Sangha that I
Really?
embraced it.
Yeah, I was going to ask about, like, did everyone get along in those days? Like, Prabhupada was kind of like the glue that held everybody together, right?
Yeah, they got along together.
Yeah. I mean, I think, sometimes we have maybe a sort of overly romanticized notion of those early days.
Yeah.
And maybe some of it is true. I mean, maybe it really was. Like, it sounds like there was some magic in those days.
Oh, it really was nice. Yeah. It was
Yeah.
like a small family and we got along together.
You did, yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of mind-blowing to think that ISKCON, which probably wasn't even established yet, was just a group of like 8 devotees
Yeah.
to like what it is now.
Was there there wasn't an ISKCON yet?
No, it wasn't
No,
established.
it
wasn't
wasn't
incorporated
established. That came a few weeks later.
Do you remember that, the incorporation?
Well, Mr. Goldsmith was the lawyer presiding and somewhat of an interested, almost devotee. Although he also used to argue with Prabhupada about why did Krishna incite Arjuna to fight in a war? And he wouldn't give up on that. But war is not good. Swamiji
This is, of
said-
course, during the time of the Vietnam War.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Swamiji said, you cannot stop war. There will always be war. But the things that you have to try to stop are birth, death, disease, and old days. No, but war has to be stopped. War. So he wouldn't give in to Prabhupada on war because Prabhupada said there has to be war. That's one of the things that will always be there.
So he never became a initiated devotee.
Mr. Goldsmith, but he gave his services.
Yeah. And so he what's the word? I guess organized or
Yeah, he
helped with the
incorporated the
incorporation.
society
Yeah.
into a legal, non-profit society.
And you were one of the original.
No, I didn't sign it.
You didn't.
Some of the least interested devotees would sign it.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Say, anybody sign it? Sure, I'll sign it. Joan Suval, so-and-so and so-and-so. Sorry, I'm banging that thing.
No, that's okay.
Watch my hand.
You just have to align this so it doesn't fall. There we go.
Some of the least interested and least involved devotees signed the papers.
It's so interesting. Kind of ironic. Yeah. Did you, when that was going on, I mean, I guess it's, it's kind of hard to put yourself back in that moment, but if you could, did you feel like you were sort of witnessing religious history or taking part in religious history? This is like the creation of this thing, or was it just sort of like, oh, well, this is, nothing really changes. This is just
Oh, no, I
Swamiji's
thought it was a
family.
big thing.
You did?
Yeah.
What were you thinking at that time?
That it's now an incorporated religion, non-profit religion, and we're going to change the world.
Wow.
Wow.
I didn't think that. I was just assuming that no one thought like that. But
But you did?
no, I mean, you did. You thought like that it was going to change the world. I didn't
Yeah,
think
we
that.
thought like that.
Even though you were just a small group
Small
in a
thing, we
storefront,
thought-
and
Because Swamiji said that we're going to change the world,
and he named it International Society, which
Yeah.
is interesting also.
and not God consciousness, but Krishna,
Krishna
consciousness.
consciousness. Yeah, I remember reading that. Yeah.
In the chronological order of things that happened to you, what kind of came next after initiation?
Well, I went on typing like anything and giving money and asking questions. One time I asked Prabhupada, I can be lots of different kinds of persons. I can change my personality. This was a kind of a hippie idea, I thought. That you could be whoever you wanted to be according to the people you were trying to appeal to. So what kind of a person would Krishna like me to be? And he didn't answer it straight. He just said, this boy Steve is nice. He gives me money and he types for me. You should all do that. And wow, I was on eighth heaven or whatever you call it. And he praised me like that.
So that was that you sort of got your answer indirectly. Just be that person. Just be the person that tries and does that. Yeah. These are really early days. So you mentioned doing the typing. This was for what would eventually become the Bhagavad Gita as it is?
Bhagavatam.
Or this is for the Bhagavatam?
Yeah.
So at this point, in terms of literature, there's the Bhagavatams that Prabhupada brought with him?
Yeah.
And that's it?
3 volumes of the first canto.
Right.
Printed in India.
And so were you reading, studying that?
Like anything. As soon as I bought them, when I wasn't even initiated, I went in my lunch hour, dressed in my Karmi clothes, as we call them, a summer suit suitable for the office. And I said, I want to buy your books. And seated there were some of the boys. The boys used to sit and hang around with him and not do anything, not work, but just absorb his speeches.
And this was in his apartment or in the store?
Yeah, in his apartment when he wasn't actually giving a class. And I kind of resented their being so lazy and not doing anything for him, but hanging around and soaking up all the nectar.
Right.
So while I had to work all day and give my money. What was I going to say?
The purchase of the...
I purchased the books, and they were $6 each. I thought it was a little pricey. But
I wonder what that would be in today's dollars. Someone can do a conversion, but I'm sure it's... Books, but $6 each.
Yeah.
And you bought all 3 volumes at once?
And I gave him a $20 bill. And he said, oh, all right, I'll give you change. And he asked around boys, and they didn't have any change. I said, all right, you can keep the money. I said, then I asked them, what are these books? Are they your commentaries on the Bhagavatam? I wanted to show that I knew what reading was and what books were.
Yeah, right.
I said, are these commentaries? And he said, yes. And this is Srimad Bhagavatam. So I took them home and I immediately began to read them. And I was really struck to bring out one thing about, it was described that Vyasadeva was despondent, even though he had done so many things and written so many literatures, but he hadn't described Krishna directly. So I was digging right away into some pretty advanced material, the despondency of Vyasadeva. And so I brought that up to Prabhupada one time in his room. Why was Vyasadeva so despondent if he wrote all these literatures? When I asked that question, he opened his eyes. Boy, this boy is asking a very advanced question. And then he explained it to me. I don't remember how I reacted, but I liked it, getting an answer to such an advanced question, or so-called advanced question. Why Vyasadeva was despondent. I said, I'm a writer myself. I thought, I'm a writer, and so I'm despondent too at my writing. So why was Vyasadeva despondent? And then he explained it. They didn't directly describe Krishna.
Right. So maybe this is a good opportunity to, again, I know we're jumping, but maybe we can backtrack, because even before meeting the Swami, in addition to your day job, so to speak, but you were a writer. You were writing, yes?
I wanted to say that too. Yeah, that's
and I know we haven't talked about it, but even, so before meeting Prabhupada and the devotees, you were writing. Did you keep writing when you met them? Tell us a little bit about your life
Well,
as a
I
writer,
hadn't-
as it were?
I hadn't published with any publisher, but I was writing a lot. I wrote novellas, short stories, poems, and I accumulated quite a bit of writing, unpublished, but hoping I could publish it. But then once I got involved with Swamiji and made a real commitment and got initiated, I thought, well, all this writing is Maya. And so I took it, a big bundle that I had, went in the hallway of his first floor apartment, opened the door of the incinerator and threw it in.
That was like your vairagya. That was your
Yeah.
renunciation of all of that. Wow.
And right after that,
And this is not like, just so everyone, like especially the younger viewers and listeners,
It's not like
doesn't know.
deleting a file.
This is not right. Like there's no backups. There's no cloud. There's not. This was what, years, months, years?
months of years
your,
of writing.
Your personal writing, your hopes to get published, and you took it all in just one shot incinerator.
And then I walked next door to the storefront and I told Hayagriva what I had done. And he said, well, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to write for Krishna. And then I thought, wow, why should you throw it all away? You should write for Krishna. Then I started doing that, but with Back to Godhead magazine.
Srila Prabhupada introduced that he had a magazine before he came to America.
Yeah, his own
His own.
production of Back to Godhead magazine. But then he said, I want you to produce Back to Godhead magazine, print an article by me and articles by yourself.
So you started writing for those
Yeah,
early Back to Godheads.
yeah, I got published in the early ones.
Do you remember some of the first articles, early articles that you wrote?
Karma, yoga, and something else. I think to this day, although I haven't published in Back to Godhead for years, I still have published the most articles because every month I would write an article about something from the Bhagavatam, some story about, whatever it was, Lord Kapila, Devahuti, something, and I would put it into my own words. So I published many articles in Back to Godhead.
And were you still working at this point also? Like this is later on? And
Yeah. I was envious of the devotees who weren't working, so I decided to resign from my job and join them, hanging out and hearing from him.
Right.
So I went to Mr. Rice, my supervisor, and handed in a resignation, official resignation. And then I went and told Swamiji that I have resigned from my job just so that I can be with you during the day like the other boys. He said, oh, but you were giving your money. I was very pleased with that. And then he told me a story, which is a fantastic story about a chaste wife who was so chaste to her husband that when he said he wanted to go see a beautiful, expensive prostitute, she complied with him and saw that she could arrange it. And she had to raise the money and finally work as a prostitute so that he could go. And then she told him one day, I have arranged it now, you can go to that woman. And Prabhupada said, you can say that this chaste wife was not moral, but she was very chaste and very loyal to her husband. And then he didn't have to add, get it? But it meant you shouldn't quit your job. If you don't like it there still, you should work there and be like this woman. So I went back and took back my resignation papers and continued working as a welfare officer.
And Mr. Rice was happy with that.
Yeah, he said, yeah.
And when was the whole mango pastime, if you could tell that one?
Well, that was later when he said that the mango is the king of fruits.
Prabhupada said this in one just...
Yeah. And he said when he was a boy, he used to run through the house and pick mangoes off the shelf or the kitchen, whatever he wanted, he could eat mangoes. And he said, but in your country, they do not have mangoes. I thought, don't they? I went to one fruit store, and they said, well, normally we don't stock mangoes, but in our back freezer we keep some. So I went with him to the back freezer, and they were specialty items. They cost $1 each, which was a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But they were nice mangoes, red and green. So I bought one, and I gave it to the Swami, and he was very happy, and he took it. Then I made a habit of bringing one every day.
Mm.
One day I brought the mango, and I gave it to him, and he said, treating me like a little boy in his voice, he said, "Very good boy," when I gave him the mango. And all the boys laughed at me, laughing at me for him talking to me like that.
Right.
And then he said, "No, this is love. This is Krishna consciousness." And they stopped laughing.
Did that just melt your heart?
Yeah.
I mean, wow.
So I kept bringing the mangoes. And in 1977, he even remembered that.
He did.
And I remember Satsvarupa Maharaj used to bring me a mango every day. And he remembered other devotees. I remember Madhuvisa, he did this. And I remember so-and-so, and he did this. These were like parting words of his when he was very sick in 1977.
So this is in 1910.
Wow.
Prabhupada is remembering
Yeah.
with gratitude.
Marge, can I give you this?
Yeah, I'll suck on it.
Shake it.
In my mouth.
Yeah.
Good.
Oh, three of
Oh,
them?
more. Yeah.
Got it.
So I kept my welfare job.
Yeah. And while you kept your welfare job, you kept bringing
The mango.
the mangoes, you were still doing the typing.
Yeah.
And were you doing writing by this point as well?
Writing for Back to Godhead.
Writing for Back to Godhead.
No other writing.
You weren't keeping journals or anything at this
No.
time? Okay.
I regretted that I didn't keep any diaries or journals of those early days, but I didn't.
You didn't?
But later I wrote things and I called them such and such poem in the mood of Satsvarupa Das Brahmachari. And I tried to write in my mentality of that time.
Well, we might get there a little bit later, but I think you've made up for not keeping journals in those days
Yes.
with how much writing you're one of the most prolific writers, I think,
Yes.
in terms of contemporary Vaishnavism. And
How many books now, Maharaj, in total?
200?
200 books.
Yeah.
Wow. And a number of them focus specifically on Prabhupada.
Yes, a
memories,
lot of books
reflections.
on Prabhupada.
100.
Besides the Lilamrita, he's got 13 other books. specifically
Just on
about
Prabhupada.
Just on Prabhupada.
meditations, Prabhupada appreciation, Prabhupada this.
So besides the Lilamrita, 13
Yeah.
other books outside
on
of the
Prabhupada.
Lilamrita,
Just
just
on
on Srila
Prabhupada.
Prabhupada.
Right.
Wow,
They
amazing.
were written mostly early while he was still on fire with Prabhupada.
Right,
He
Mm.
had access to all the files
right.
and just finished the Lilamrita and it was hot.
I guess is a good thing to say right now is that if you want to buy Maharaj's books, all of the catalog is online. We'll put the link
Amazon.
on Amazon. We'll
Okay,
put the
so
link
we'll put
in
the Amazon
description.
link in the description. So
Amazon store link. Yeah.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. It's amazing. But should we go back or should we go forward?
Forward. Let's go forward.
There's
I think there's a lot of stuff to cover.
There's
Still.
so much to cover, but can we talk a little bit about the writing? Would that be okay,
Sure.
Maharaj? Because as you said, you identified very much as a writer
Yeah.
before, and then sent that writing down the incinerator. By the way, I mean, it's okay if you don't want to get into it, but do you ever think about had you not sent the writing down the incinerator, like
Well, I don't regret it so much.
you don't regret it?
I mean, because everything that came after
Everything.
was probably
Yeah.
much more.
But you did then start writing again for
Yes.
Back to Godhead, and but yeah, tell us a little bit about that sort of the life of a writer, and whether it sort of chronologically through the years or in this moment, wherever you'd like to go with it. But
You're saying in general.
yeah, or for you.
Well, I've been writing constantly, writing for Back to Godhead. And then after Prabhupada passed away, I
You
continued
can press
writing.
number 3 to black it out. You could do it
Do you want to give a pause and maybe start from the top?
No,
We're good?
We're still rolling.
Okay.
After Prabhupada passed away, I didn't continue writing for Back to Godhead. Well, I wrote the Prabhupada Lilamrita
Right.
with a team of devotees who helped me. And that was probably the best thing I wrote and will be remembered the most. 7 volumes. And it's been translated in many languages. But it's a team effort. After writing that, I wrote a lot on my own. And my style changed too. I started writing somewhat experimentally, free writing and different writings. But I liked very much to keep a journal, so I wrote journals. I wrote journals like there was one Catholic writer, Thomas Merton, who kept a lot of journals. And I liked his writing very much. And I kept his writings in mind when I wrote my journals. And there are other journal writers like Thoreau. But mine was strictly Krishna conscious.
Do you think it's important for devotees to write, and in your experience, why, if you do think it's important?
Oh, yeah. Prabhupada said you should write, even 1 page, you should write something Krishna conscious. And he wrote, the first duty of a person in the renounced order is to write something Krishna conscious. And devotees are taking it up too. They're writing. Mostly they're writing their memoirs. But after that, they can write more.
Yeah.
The invitation is there. At first, I didn't know whether I should write books, so I wrote him a letter. And this may be the first green light that we were given by Prabhupada. I wrote, you have written so many books. Is it right for your disciples to write books also or not? So he wrote back. He said, as far as your question about writing books, although I have written books, yes, it is wide open, or whatever he said, I don't remember exactly. All the Goswamis have written books, I have written books, and my disciples should write books also.
Wow.
So devotees have posted that note in their own books, I've seen, that they have permission to write.
And Marge, you started writing books when Prabhupada was still with us, or still on the planet. Yeah.
There was one book I wrote that he saw, and he said, I quoted scholars, and I criticized them and knocked them down. And he said about that book, he has criticized the scholars and named them, but he has not gotten himself contaminated.
What was that book called?
Was that the
Dialectics?
no readings in Vedic literature?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a book I wrote while he was still alive, and he glanced at it.
Wow.
Oh, and then you continued.
Yeah,
to
continued
write.
writing after he passed away.
Yeah, you mentioned a lot of devotees now writing memoirs and writing other things.
Yeah,
But in many ways, I think I think it would be fair to say that you were one of the pioneers of memoir writing in our movement, of journal writing.
yeah.
And as you said, writing all of your journals, were Krishna conscious and at the same time also deeply personal.
Yes.
What was that like, kind of opening yourself up in that way and writing what some might consider very vulnerable,
Well, that's my style, and I like to write very honestly and admit my mistakes and write confessionally and so forth.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think others should write like that too.
Wasn't also, Venkata, you were saying that Maharaj was one of the first to kind of push like the authenticity part of Krishna consciousness.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's
yeah,
something
we
I
were
really
talking about
appreciate
this the other
about
day
you.
also. It's so much more common these days, and you hear many devotees, senior devotees, leaders, teachers, gurus, talking about authenticity.
Yeah.
But really, Maharaj, I want to give sort of credit where credit is due. I at least personally feel that you were, if not the first, one of the first advocates for that kind of authenticity in Krishna consciousness at a time where probably the general mood was much more fall in line and cookie cutter.
Yeah, like I wrote one book in the beginning, Japa Reform Notebook.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a classic.
That was a little bit criticized, but mostly accepted.
Mm-hmm.
But then I wrote another book, Guru Reform Notebook. And Kirtanananda
That's a
said,
radical book.
a guru can't be reformed.
Kirtananda said that. Yeah.
A guru doesn't need reformation, and he needed it.
Maybe it hit a little too close, too raw, but
So that still stands, that book.
yeah.
It points out the falsity of 11 gurus and no more than that gurus and other zonal gurus and so forth.
Well, even just the idea of being self-critical, really examining one's shortcomings, and then honestly sharing about them.
Yeah.
I imagine that there was you got some, if not outright criticism, at least raised eyebrows.
Yeah.
How did you sort of deal with that? How did you persevere?
Well, I guess I was a little righteous about it. I thought it was right to do that, to admit that my chanting wasn't up to par and that I was trying my best to chant, but I was struggling with it. I've written that, put that in print a number of times.
Yeah. The idea of normalizing the struggle, so to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's another book, I don't know the year, but Obstacles on the Path of...
Oh,
Yeah.
obstacles. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
that was
great.
another kind of really... I remember as a sort of a younger man reading that and being so grateful, like someone's actually talking about this stuff.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, I don't know, Nam, if you had a similar experience, but I know for me, and Maharaj, I would love to hear if this is something you experienced. There was so much... it seemed like everyone was sort of just going along with this, like, oh, Krishna consciousness is like great and blissful. And if you're not experiencing that, maybe something's wrong with you. And it's almost like posturing in public.
Yeah.
That, oh, we're not struggling. But then privately,
Yeah.
and just to have someone name it and acknowledge it and normalize it, not just someone, but someone as loved and respected. And, it meant a lot. It was actually really hope-giving to a lot of us.
Good.
And then in the chronological, again, order of things, when did things start getting like so large that, Prabhupada wasn't there anymore and he was San Francisco and back to India? And what were you doing? What were you doing during those times?
Well, I was keeping myself busy. I was on the library party, which he recognized and appreciated.
Right.
And I lectured in colleges, which he acknowledged, but not as much as the book distributors. But something just slipped my mind.
Library party.
Yeah, and what was I doing? Well, I was in Boston for some years.
You actually helped to start.
I went there by myself.
And that was like the first printing, ISKCON printing press
Yes.
was there, right?
Yeah, ISKCON Press
ISKCON press, right?
in a
This
big
is
house.
pre-BBT. This is like the first press, yeah?
Yeah. Boston.
So you went alone. What was that like going?
Well, I had my Navy duffel bag. I put all my belongings in there and put it on my fragile shoulder and took a bus and went there. At first I took a furnished room for a couple of nights, and then another devotee came up and joined me. I think his name was Damodar. And he eventually found a storefront, and we rented that as our first Hare Krishna temple. It was very similar to 26 Second Avenue.
Yeah.
And a few other devotees joined us. including the first lady devotee, Jyotirani.
And in those days, you had to kind of preach to create devotees within the temple. It wasn't like now where people hear about it online and they'll just come. It's like you actually have to go around Sankirtan
You're like
and
building your community, building your congregation.
right.
Yeah.
Could you tell us a little bit about what that was like, as far as
Making
maintaining
devotees.
making devotees, maintaining the temple?
Especially in such a warm and friendly place as Boston.
Oh boy, Beantown.
Beantown, it's got a reputation. Must have been tough.
Yeah, it was. I can't remember.
Okay, that's all right. And then you said you were there for a few years.
Yeah.
What happened after that?
Well, after Boston, where I was there for a few years, I was invited to go to Dallas to help them open a Gurukula by Mohanananda. And I went there and I stayed there for a few years. Where did I go after that? Oh, then I became a sannyasi. Prabhupada invited me to take sannyas in 1972. So after that, I left Dallas and went traveling with another man as a traveling sannyasi.
When Prabhupada called for you to do that, it was by letter?
Yeah, he was unhappy with his GBC men for, as he called it, sitting behind their desks and not preaching. So he made a few of his GBC men into sannyasis. Tamal Krishna Maharaj got initiated into sannyas around that time, much at his own pushing for it. And others took sannyas. And after seeing that, I wrote to Prabhupada in L.A. and said, could I take sannyas too? He said, you may come to Los Angeles and I'll give it to you.
Wow.
And I just wrote a letter to my wife. I didn't even ask her, as nowadays we're so careful to do. Sorry. But I just said, you're more Krishna conscious than I am anyway. And I'm going to take sannyas. Prabhupada has invited me.
Yeah, but she had been living in New York anyway.
Yeah.
You were kind of in that monastic sort of lifestyle anyway,
Yeah.
both of you.
And she was completely absorbed in painting,
Right.
whether married or unmarried.
Yeah.
Right.
She was, yeah, right.
And so you took sannyas and then you were
And then
traveling.
traveling.
Yeah.
Were you GBC by that time?
Yeah. I joined the GBC 1972 and stayed on it for 17 years.
Wow.
And then I had these terrible migraine headaches.
I was just about to
developed.
ask that. Yeah. Is it about that time that had you always struggled with migraines, or was that something that?
No, it developed at a certain time. And they got so bad, I thought it was torture to go into the meeting place of the GBC meetings. And so I wrote a letter of resignation. And I remember Hridayananda Maharaj said, well, I don't know if you can resign. I said, well, don't we have rights? And he said, they voted for it, and I barely made it in majority that I could resign.
To accept your resignation.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Those 17 years, what was were you pleased? Like, were you happy to do that service, or was it kind of an
It was
austerity?
not my nature to be a GBC man and manage. Prabhupada said about me, he is a perfect gentleman, but he cannot manage. Said it more than once. So I kind of value that statement, the first part at least, but I'm not a manager.
I mean, it's kind of it's something that comes up from time to time is like, how important do you think it is to align one's service with one's nature versus sometimes you hear devotees talking about, well, you know, kind of transcend our sort of inclinations and natures, and then Krishna like reciprocates and appreciates that sort of stretching of ourselves. And I mean, you certainly stretched yourself.
I did it for 17 years, pushed myself to be a GBC manager, and then coincidentally, oh wow, I got these migraine headaches. But the GBC at that time was very rowdy.
Rowdy?
People used to shout out and interrupt proceedings. They didn't follow parliamentary procedure. I remember one meeting, one of the GBC men said, "The Canary Islands is in my zone." And someone else said, "No, it's in my zone." And this one GBC man, who was a big man, he jumped over the little table that was placed in front of him, jumped to the middle of the room and said, "The Canary Islands are in my zone." So it was conducted like that. And anyone who was gentle and quiet like me and Jagadish, we could hardly take it.
Oh my gosh.
Now it's become so parliamentary and rightly ordered and so forth.
Right.
But it was rough.
Also, just for a little bit of context, how old? What would be the what would have been the average age of a GBC man at that time? That rowdy time you're talking about? 20 something.
Yeah.
20 something. So it's like, can you just imagine like just the sort of like biologically the testosterone in that room? And it's like, oh my gosh, more like a locker room or something.
Yeah.
So things have mellowed out a little bit, but or hopefully a lot.
Right.
But for 17 years, Maharaj, you sort of you did that, and
I took zones in different parts of the world, especially in America, and traveled around and did GBC duties.
I don't know if it's fair to ask, but now looking back on it, if there was an opportunity to do things differently, would you do it differently?
No, I wouldn't do it differently.
You would have still done the 17 years.
I'm proud that I did those years. For not wanting to do them, but doing it for Swamiji, Prabhupada.
Yeah.
There's something to say about it creating, like who you are now is because you've done all these different austerities and gone
paid
through
your
all
dues.
Yeah, paid your
sort
dues.
of forms
exactly.
who you are,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I think that's inspiring for devotees, to be honest. Doing things that we're not exactly made for, but because of the service, because of love for Krishna, for Prabhupada, to take on those austerities, essentially, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I imagine going back to something you said earlier about your nature being a little bit more inclined towards solitude.
Yeah.
You know, just to be so much in the public eye, to be so much in groups and meetings and all this. It's like, were you able to carve out some space for that solitude, and or did that have to come later once you had sort of resigned? And
it came later, but I was able to keep writing while being a GBC man, but I didn't write as much.
Right. Do you think that writing kind of was like a solace for you, or it was
Yeah.
You
Now I write all the time, but I'm very weak in my health and my body. I'm 86, so I still write as much as I can.
Is it, if I can ask, is it a daily practice for you, or is it?
Yeah.
Really? So every day you're
Right.
writing?
I wrote a series of books called Every Day Just Right.
Yeah. And so you're still doing it.
And you do it with your hand, or do it by a
Somebody
keyboard?
said I'm too weak now to write with my hand, but I do write with my hand.
Mm-hmm.
And I also write even more with a dictaphone that I hold to my mouth.
Oh, right.
And then I give it to my typist, and he types it up.
Okay.
It's a kind of very Prabhupada-esque way of writing, right?
Yeah,
like father, like son. It's kind of nice.
He
Yeah,
evolved to the dictaphone.
I wonder if younger devotees know how much Prabhupada, when we talk about Prabhupada as a writer, but so much of it is, from what I understand, right? It's using a dictaphone. It's,
Yes.
Yeah.
And using a first draft, actually.
Mm-hmm.
But I do a lot of rewriting now.
Mm.
Yeah, recently.
That's
Yeah.
recent. Okay.
I mean, we could talk so much about writing as a craft, but I just a couple of questions on this. Like, what is your relationship with sort of drafting, redrafting, perfectionism, right? I know that with writing, sometimes it's, especially when you're sort of pouring your heart out, like it's, it's that tension maybe is there of feeling some sense of possessiveness or protection over your words. How do you sort of manage all of that?
Well, Baladev just said my writing is more recently with a lot of revision.
Mm-hmm.
So for many years I didn't practice revision. I practiced more free writing and writing without a lot of revision, although I had editors.
Mm-hmm.
The Parapali Lamanta was edited by a devotee named Mandaleshwara. And after that, for 25 or 30 years, it was Kaishori who edited my books. And now my books are edited by a devotee named Krishna Bhajan. So I've always had editors who corrected my faulty English and helped me.
Mm.
Many years, it was first thoughts, best thoughts,
Yeah,
sort of a motto.
Right.
First thoughts, best thoughts.
yeah.
In terms of the energy and
Well, I guess it would also depend on the type of writing, right? Like, because if you're writing like free write, for instance,
Yeah.
I mean, the potency of the writing is so much the unfiltered nature, the resisting the temptation to revise, to edit. That's maybe quite different than something that's more, kind of a polished long form essay or something.
Yeah, that requires more rewriting.
Yeah. You also did editing for or at least
For Back to Godhead?
For Back to Godhead, you mentioned
Yes.
you were
Along with Jayadvaita Maharaj.
right. Yeah.
I worked closely with him for a number of years on Back to Godhead magazine.
Mm,
And he's still a close friend. Now he's on his own, giving lectures nonstop and traveling nonstop.
yeah.
I admire him.
When you meet someone like that you've known for so long, what do you talk about? Do you ever talk about the olden days and kind of reminisce, or is it
Yeah.
more just about the current and
More current.
yeah?
He
Yeah.
chastises me sometimes,
Oh, really?
says I'm going off the mark.
Wow.
Mm,
But I say, I'm doing what I'm doing.
It's amazing to have to be friends for that long,
Yeah.
especially in the service of your guru, to have a comrade like that.
Mm.
yeah. And just friends that we can be open, honest with, and call each other out, but also maybe resist and say like, "Oh, this is who I am," and kind of back off, and
Yeah.
but to be coming from a place of love.
Yeah.
Marge, when
it's
you
really
see what's
beautiful.
going on in ISKCON in 2025, what are your thoughts as far as
No, I think we're in 2026.
Yeah,
now.
we are
we're
now.
2026 now, yeah.
4
That's right.
days or 5 days.
Yeah. So 2026, I mean, what are your thoughts about what ISKCON has become, and since when you were back in 66 or whatever that time was, what do you see ISKCON as right now?
I meant to tell you of a moment that I experienced. I always expected to go on a morning walk with Srila Prabhupada. That was like a privilege that I took for granted. But one day, I went to get into the car, and Ramaswar told me, "No, you can't come. Prabhupada asked me to come in the car today, and there's no other room." That really struck me. I was so used to getting in the car and going on the walk. But that was a sign that ISKCON had changed. Ramaswar could go into the car, but I couldn't. I wasn't doing such important service. So that was a change for me, that ISKCON had become so big that I couldn't go in the car.
Wow.
It was hard. But he still kept me very specially. If I would enter a room that was filled with his followers, he would ask me to come forward and he would give me a pillow to sit on. He treated me like a gentleman and special, even though I couldn't manage.
Because you were from the original days.
Yeah. He remembered me from giving a mango and everything else.
You know, I'm struck by in a number of the anecdotes and episodes you share. I'm just struck by Srila Prabhupada's gratitude, right? When you wear a tilak, he says, thank you. When you,
Yeah.
it's just those things that, I mean, it seems simple enough, but sometimes, maybe even often, we take for granted. But Prabhupada, it seems like just that gratitude, even as you were saying in 1977, in his final days, remembering by name devotees and
who did this, who did that.
And I've also read Prabhupada expressing gratitude even for America as a country. For instance, did you ever hear this in 1977?
He was in tears.
We're in tears,
Yeah.
and you know, it's just like,
And New York City.
like yeah,
New York City, yeah.
yeah. So that's very powerful. That, you know, it's someone at Prabhupada's, you know, level,
Saying America.
and
Yeah.
just taking the time to express that kind of gratitude.
Yeah.
You know, whether to an individual, a student, a country, a community. Yeah. We spoke a little bit about your writing. Can we talk a little bit about art? And I'm looking over here at this really striking painting. When was this one? Do you remember when this was?
Well, I painted, I wouldn't say non-stop, but intensely for about 10 years. And then I stopped. But in that time, I gained a kind of competency in a style of art which is called by different names. Art brut, that's a French word. But you see primitive art that is still popular.
When
I
did
painted like that.
When did you start that?
What year? I started it and kept it up for a 10-year period. I painted for 5 years and living consistently in 5 years in Ireland. I painted 5 canvases a day. I was like a madman. I was painting all the time.
Wow.
And how did you start? I mean, how did you?
I had a painting retreat in India, late 90s.
Late 90s, okay. And I'm because and I'm especially curious because with the writing, that was something that even before you had, met the devotees, that was a part of your identity, it continues to be. But that's not necessarily true of the painting. The painting is something that relatively is more recent.
Yes.
So in that late night, do you remember a particular, was it sort of something gradual that had built up an interest or a curiosity about painting, or was it like something that one morning you woke up and said, I'm going to paint?
Pretty much like that, but gradually also. And I got some recognition. I had a couple of exhibits, one in Govinda's gallery that is run by Chris Murray.
In Washington, D.C.
Yeah, they're now celebrating their 50th anniversary. It's still been running. And there was a local place in Pennsylvania who did a showing of mine, and a couple of other places.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Radhadesh.
Radhadesh.
Oh, the Mosa. Yeah.
Mahaprabhu.
Mm-hmm.
So it's their paintings now.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
He can show them whenever he wants.
When you said that you were doing 5 canvases a day,
Yeah.
what was like the impetus behind doing so many, like so intensely doing it?
Well, one thing was Baladev had money at those days. He was driving a truck and earning money. So he bought me good brushes, good paints, good canvases. So I was not a starving artist like Van Gogh. I had money to paint. So I took advantage of that. I painted like anything.
But again,
Yes.
so it was both gradual, but also a little bit, kind of overnight.
Yeah.
Well, it started with illustrating every day, just right.
Oh, okay.
It started small,
Hmm.
but illustrations.
Right.
And then when the money came, it went, into went big.
Mm.
I mean, some of the canvases were 4x6, 5x6,
Really?
5 of them a day.
Wow.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
And
Big brushes.
all of your themes and subject matter is all Krishna conscious.
Yes.
Including
Prabhupada
Prabhupada,
portraits.
Mahaprabhu, Radha Krishna, but also, if I remember correctly, sort of also just expressions of devotees and devotee
Yeah.
life.
Yeah,
Some of my
devotee
favorite
interactions and
are
things.
just kind of like little vignettes of like devotees
Right.
being.
One devotee of Prabhupada, Vegavati,
Hmm.
came to Ireland, and I let her do it. She picked out all my best Krishna conscious paintings of Prabhupada and devotees, and bought them at very low prices, and went back to America and sold them to Indian families and made money for herself.
Oh, wow.
I was a little reluctant to let them go, but she wanted to do it, and I let her go. They would be shown by people.
Hmm.
But I lost a lot of my paintings through that process, through Vegavati selling them.
Why this particular style of art, or maybe
Well,
why
it's
is
what
not the right
it's
question?
what I could do. It's only what I could do. I wasn't a Picasso or anything. Or,
But how did you sort of, was it kind of a spontaneous discovery of
Yeah,
this
it was.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I subscribed to this magazine, Raw Vision,
Hmm.
and they're all about art brut. And they have a visionary. I made a visionary garden once in Ireland, outdoors, with all totem poles and different things that I assembled there. But in the winter, it got destroyed
Mm.
by the outdoors in Ireland.
Hmm.
But I learned what I could, and I didn't have many talents.
Yeah, but you were recognized.
Yeah, I was recognized.
People as actually having the gift for that type of art. It's not just
Yeah.
kid stuff.
I was almost featured in Raw Vision, but around that time I quit doing what I was doing.
Hmm. Art, like writing, is so subjective. Did you
Somewhat. So what?
It's so subjective.
Subjective, yeah.
Perhaps even more than writing. Right?
Yeah.
With writing, there's subjectivity, but at least as far as the medium, there's
Yeah.
more or less where it's pretty accessible. With art, especially, that
Yeah, you can
subjectivity
do-
is. Did you sort of have any worry or hesitation about kind of how the art might be received or not received or not understood?
Prabhupada, he didn't like modern art. He talks about how Govinda Dasa showed him a painting with just some bamboo sticks.
Hmm.
And he said, she showed me this, but I thought, is this art?
Oh, I didn't know that. That's right. Wow.
Yeah.
So Prabhupada was pretty critical of modern art of his time.
Well, at least when he saw bamboo sticks.
Right.
And somebody else told me about how they saw a painting that just had a strike in it or something.
Mm-hmm.
And that was all that was to it. And yet this person was having exhibits and everything. So it's pretty wild now.
Yeah.
It's getting a bit ridiculous, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But did you have that sort of?
No, I didn't have that sense of resistance.
No.
I wanted to make it as nice as I could with the talents I had, limited talents. And I like to keep in Prabhupada Krishna conscious themes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I did that pretty much. Kept in Krishna conscious themes.
Yeah.
And then when did you start doing more like the Nima and the mouse and Am I a Demon? Those are like fiction, but based on Shastric stories.
Yeah, that came along with the other things I was doing. I just thought, well, can I do fiction too? I even wrote a small book, Why Fiction? And reasoned myself out of doing fiction in that book and said it wasn't so great an idea. But I persisted and did some works of fiction. I thought the best one was the Nimai series, which we finally published in one big book. Have you seen
recently?
that book? Yeah.
No, I haven't.
Oh, it puts together all the Nimai.
It's got all four of the
okay.
short books in one big book,
Yeah.
hardbound.
So good.
Well, the Nimai
Kids
series
like
is
it.
also really interesting because it starts off somewhat. You'd expect it to maybe be a little bit more like geared towards like a children's story, but then Nimai like encounters some pretty some pretty serious situations in
Yeah.
terms of
Right, he has a faith crisis.
he has a
or something.
faith crisis.
Yeah, and his
there's
guru.
and then
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to give anything away for anyone who wants to read it, but like it's pretty dramatic things happen there.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's one about Nimai and Gurudev kind of fighting for their survival.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah. And then of course then there's the sort of the Chota the mouse side of things. He has his own.
Crisis of service.
Yeah, Chota has his own kind of, which is like very like sort of mirrors ISKCON.
Yeah. I mean, the
Institutional
Sankirtan leader
stuff. Yeah,
had a
yeah.
jacket.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
The Sankirtan leader had a jacket, and he was
He's a
like
good
trying to preach to
artist.
him.
Yeah. There's like all this sort of like institutional tropes that you see in ISKCON, where like all like
Yeah.
existing in the mouse world or whatever. It was really
So
kind of
good.
far out. Yeah, it's
So
interesting
good.
stuff.
Someone asked me my favorite book, and I said Nimai and the Mouse in the hardbound section, which has everything in it.
That was
It's
your
not
favorite.
really my favorite, but
Not
I
really.
said it was.
Just a good way of getting.
I mean, it was quite impactful for a young person to.
Yeah.
Very impactful actually.
Yeah. And then there was that. Am I a demon or a Vaishnav? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
based on the Mrugari
Was
story, right? Was that based on the Mrugari?
Or was that? I think that was that.
No,
one?
there's
that was
another one called Narada and the Ex-Hunter or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The Am I a demon or a Vaishnav? I think it's Prahlad and Hiranyakashipu,
Prahlad,
but told from the point of view of like someone in Hiranyakashipu's, like one of his ministers or
Yeah.
underlings, whose like kid is like going through this transformation through Prahlad Maharaj.
Devotees have put on a play based on that book, and
Yeah.
other
Oh, really?
devotees have thought, where did he get this from?
There you go.
Because it's not a straight story of Hiranyakashipu and Prahlad Maharaj.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one based on diaries. Many people call them
Yeah.
marvelous diaries.
I wrote a book,
Oh yes,
The Diaries of Chai Devi, and
of Chai Devi and
it's about he falls down and she protects him, his wife.
yes, the Sri Vaishnavas.
Yeah.
Who then
Oh, I never
encounter
read this.
Mahaprabhu. Do you remember this
No,
one?
no.
This is like yeah.
She brings him back to Krishna consciousness and honor.
That's
And
right.
devotees have asked me, do you have any more diaries from that period?
Oh,
They
because
think
they
it's a real story.
Yeah, it was written very. So some devotees don't realize it's
Yeah,
it's
they
fiction.
think it's not fiction.
Yeah.
How did you put together Prabhupada Nectar? Because I
What
know
is that made of?
that was all like anecdotes of Srila Prabhupada, like drops of nectar,
Oh.
Prabhupada on health, Prabhupada
Yeah.
on
Prabhupada tells a story.
Prabhupada tells a story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you put those together?
Well, just from my knowledge of Prabhupada.
And it was the team that kind of collected, like the same with the
Yeah.
Amrita? They
Is that like
collected
that
those
sort of
also?
like
Same quality of material.
Yeah.
Right.
Editing and reality in terms of the quality of the persons telling the stories.
Yeah, we tried to weed out anybody who was just making up something about Prabhupada.
Oh, I
A
see.
lot of that has been done
yeah.
by
Really?
others.
Cross-examination.
Well, it's so. I mean, I would imagine
There's
it would
one
be so
book, what's it
difficult.
called? I don't know. It was done by a nice lady, but she interviewed Mula Prakriti,
Prabhupada friend to all or
friend
something?
to everyone, yeah. But she interviewed some people that were, she didn't check them out so clearly and everything.
I see.
But in our interviews for Prabhupada Lilamrita, we interviewed them and then cross-referenced them and found somebody else and told the story and found out whether this is a true story about Prabhupada.
Right.
So Prabhupada Lilamrita is a pretty straight rendition of Prabhupada's events.
Right.
But nectar is the same quality material. It's just
Yeah.
drawn from stuff that you can't put everything
Right.
in the book.
I always kind of thought of it as like the, kind of like, not outtakes, but like almost like the stuff that
I mean,
didn't make it into the Lamrita.
I'd call it
but
the
could
cream
have.
on the top. I mean,
Yeah,
they were all
some of it's
such
so good.
great
Yeah.
stories.
Yeah,
I mean, we
yeah.
grew up. My son reads it now. He's 7 years old,
Oh.
and like when I was a 7-year-old, I was reading those books. So it's like it's gonna just go to generations.
Good.
Yeah.
Those beautiful stories that kind of created Srila Prabhupada in my little head.
I
Because
mean,
I didn't meet him.
I'm like just so fascinated by also like how do you even undertake something like the Lilamrita, right? Like we sort of take it for granted now because it's already written and we sort of know the chronology.
Good question.
But like to start, sort of like where do you even start and how did you decide that particular structure? And
It started with BBT men saying that there should be a biography of Srila Prabhupada, they thought.
All right.
And they asked Srila Prabhupada, and my impression of what happened was he said, yes, you can do a biography about me, and someone like Satsvarupa Maharaj can do it. So then, with that much apparent approval, it went to the GBC, and at their annual meeting, they voted that I should do it. But I didn't do it single-handedly. I had to gather a substantial team of typists, so that we had to try to find out all the things that Prabhupada may have said or that were about Prabhupada, typists, editors, proofreaders, finding out other sources of material about Prabhupada.
Yeah.
So they had to be part of the team. And it wasn't just done by me.
Yeah.
They gave me all the facts and data, and I wrote the prose.
Right.
But even to come up with just a sort of like the flow, the structure, right?
Yeah.
How do you sort of periodize Prabhupada's life? And I think you did it in this really beautiful way, which again to us like now makes so much sense. But just someone had to figure that out and make that decision of like
I
what
wrote
goes in.
first book I wrote was actually the second volume.
Oh, really?
I called it the Planting the Seed.
Yeah,
And it
yeah.
was all about Prabhupada in New York City when
So you
he
actually
first
started
came
with
there.
that one.
Yeah, because I knew all about it. I was
Yes.
there too, but I didn't know about his childhood and babyhood and boyhood and businessman period. So that we had to work on carefully and slowly by getting different sources and so forth. And that became out as a second book. And that was pretty much respectably honored, that book. That was called A Lifetime in Preparation.
Right.
It brought him all the way up to his going to America.
All that came from the typing of different talks, room conversations, anything biographical first had to be found before,
Right.
Yeah.
Because Prabhupada, it wasn't, my understanding, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. My understanding is it wasn't like Prabhupada ever like sat down and said like, okay, now I'm going to tell you like the chronology of my, it's just like little bits and pieces. Prabhupada would, on a morning walk here or a darshan there or a talk here, he's like giving you a little glimpse.
Yes.
And now you have to patch all those together to come up with the chronology, right?
Wow.
I always say it was done by a team of devotees. I don't say it was just done by me.
So many gems of like Prabhupada stuffing his pockets with kachoris or wanting the two
guns.
The two guns. We always remember the two guns. That's
I
like,
love that story.
never forget that one.
Well, these are stories that he's told us mostly.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. But one of the things I love about the Lilamrita is, you get this, I think, the flavor of not just Prabhupada's life and especially the, last 11 years of his life, but you also get this kind of like documenting of the kind of like the birth and growth of ISKCON as a
Yeah.
movement. I mean, there's others. There are other books like that as well. One of my favorite books is Hayagriva's Hare Krishna Explosion,
Oh,
which
yeah.
I think also adds its own color and
Yeah.
is in his voice.
One of my favorite books is Mukunda's Miracle on
Miracle on
Second
Second
Avenue.
Avenue.
That's a great one.
It's a great book.
Yeah. Thank Krishna for that one. Yeah. But like, just to, like, there's something about that, kind of like trying to capture that, the intimacy of those early days. And then this kind of like, I like that phrase. I think that Hayagriva came up with a Hare Krishna explosion that then all of a sudden, it's like, it's full on movement.
It's a great title.
Yeah. And I think you really sense that in Lilamrita also.
Raj, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling fine. No
yeah.
headache. I can keep going
Okay,
as long
great.
as you want.
Great.
Yeah.
Did you want to kind of get into something I always ask devotees, older devotees, is that how did they weather the like post Srila Prabhupada ISKCON? Because as I was saying before, Srila Prabhupada was kind of what kept everyone together and united.
Yeah.
And then post Srila Prabhupada, when that wasn't there anymore, there was a lot of struggles that occurred with everybody all across the movement. So and people left and didn't practice anymore because Prabhupada was why they were practicing Krishna consciousness. So yourself, you've been practicing for over 50 years now. How did you weather that storm?
Yeah.
If you could share.
Well, I thought that he was always there. I am with you in my books, he said. I live forever in my books, sayings like that. So he is always with us.
And you felt his presence.
Yeah. I especially remember the early days because they're my favorite years and moments. And I struggled after he left when I couldn't get in the car and Ramaswar could. And things like that. Am I feeling, well, am I doing important service anymore? And ISKCON is getting so big. Prabhupada, devotee said, ISKCON is so big, and Prabhupada said, ISKCON is big, but I am small. I think it was Panchadevita who said that to him.
ISKCON is big,
but I am small.
How did you understand that?
That he meant he was still accessible and still the beloved guru that you loved in the first place.
Yeah.
None of you should think that Prabhupada is not accessible just because you have another guru or that he seems to be swept away by the other gurus.
One of the things that we sometimes talk about is as more and more time passes, that separates us all from Srila Prabhupada, and now we're talking about generations, right?
Yeah.
Like, so both Nam and I have children of various ages. For them, they have a certain image of Prabhupada. It's even different than the one that we have. They're just that much more removed, what to speak of generations beyond. One of the things that we talk about, and we're, with a little bit of concern and maybe some curiosity around is, and I want to be respectful when I say this, so I don't mean any disrespect, but it seems like more and more, as Prabhupada is more sort of deified in many ways, the more kind of human, accessible version of Prabhupada can feel farther and farther away from us. I'm wondering if you can maybe share some insights, considering you had so many of these really beautiful exchanges with that, that small Prabhupada, quote unquote.
There are devotees who had more association personally with Prabhupada than I did. So I'm not having the most association with him, but I had a lot. And Well, I admit I hold on to those times that I did have association with him.
Mm.
But I think we shouldn't think we have to deify Prabhupada. We can remember these books that have been written. Even Shamasundar's flamboyant books really capture Prabhupada.
Mm.
And we can remember Prabhupada and the things he did with Shyam Sundar. And Shruti Kirti has helped us. But I think we shouldn't deify him and think that he's not a liberated soul and that he's a god or something. I'm not sure what you mean.
Well, I guess I maybe a little bit of what I'm getting at is like sometimes in the name of glorifying Prabhupada, it's like we can no longer relate to him. We can no longer feel that like that warmth and intimacy that you felt in that exchange that will like forever remain like probably my favorite, episode where Prabhupada personally invites you to the wedding and then says, this typing is not mechanical. If you love me, I love you. And, right. And like kind of, as you said, broke through that resistance, those neuroses. That to me feels like a very human Prabhupada that is approachable and lovable and that loves and even struggles in some ways and, really experiences things for Krishna.
So you feel you don't have that?
No, I feel like it's I feel like it's getting harder and harder to like I feel like we're just getting farther and farther from it and there's a sort of not with any bad intention, but I feel like sometimes there's a kind of there's a version of Prabhupada that's just so larger than life. That's just so like sort of grand and majestic and like that, okay, I can sort of do this, but I don't really feel that like kind of relatability or that personal affirmation and love. I don't know if that's making sense, but
it is.
Yeah. And it's just something I feel like, and if I'm going to be honest, I hope it doesn't come off as just flattery or something, but your books really helped bring that lovable, loving, personal, human Prabhupada to life for me. So I feel very, very grateful for that. And I feel like that's something that I keep turning back to. But I wonder if for future generations, if they're going to feel like they can have that same kind of relationship with Prabhupada, or if it's just, Prabhupada is this sort of mythic grand figure that just, came to the West and brought Krishna consciousness all over the world, and that's it, and
no.
Yeah.
ISKCON may be big, he said, but I am small. And you can think of me trying to get in the car and Ramaswar telling me, you can't get in. And you just think of yourself as being told that. But you can get in.
I guess it's what you make of your relationship with Srila Prabhupada. And reading Maharaj's books and bringing that side of Prabhupada alive personally for yourself. Yeah.
I mean, it's one of the reasons I think I'm so grateful to you, Maharaj. I'm also grateful to all these, so many of your god brothers and god sisters who are sharing their memoirs, their stories, their realizations of Prabhupada, their experiences with Prabhupada. I was just reading Kurma Prabhu from Australia.
Oh, yeah. Transcendental.
Well, there's the great transcendental. He has I think it's a newer book. It's just like a little paperback called The Kitchen Religion, where he just shares some little anecdotes but it's so, it just makes all of that come alive, and kind of transports us there. And so I'm really grateful for that. I hope devotees continue to do that even as we all kind of get older.
Yeah, they should.
Yeah.
Maharaj, how do you stay inspired in Krishna consciousness now?
By writing.
Still by writing?
Yeah. I'm a writer to the core. And by writing in a Krishna conscious way, I keep alive in Krishna consciousness. I'll be writing until the day I die, so I've found my niche, my vocation, and my connection with Prabhupada. So every one of you, I say you, meaning everyone who's listening, can find what it may be. It may be like something. What is Rukmini's husband's name?
Anuttama? Anuttama?
Anuttama. I just pick him out of the hat. I know he likes what he's doing as, what's he doing? Communication department. So devotees are completely wedded to their particular service for Prabhupada, and they know they're doing it for Prabhupada. They don't feel like they missed out because they weren't there in 1966. They feel they're very much there working for Prabhupada. And you too should feel like that too. And you don't have to be exactly what your guru experienced.
Right.
Yeah.
Some place in ISKCON where you can give yourself, give the kind of person you are, and so on.
I find it interesting you said that you were attracted to the Sangha of the devotees there in 26 2nd Avenue.
Yeah.
What would you say to someone who feels like maybe a little bit jaded in their association? Maybe they don't feel at home anymore, or
they should find some group of devotees with whom they feel they're close.
Right.
It may be a smaller group within the huge ISKCON.
Yeah.
There are so many pockets of devotees who are doing different things. My landlord, Sachi Sutta, is a particular devotee. He's very big-hearted and kind, and he's not Krishna conscious in so many ways, like reading books, but he's a good devotee. I don't know why I mention him, I love him, and I love what he's doing, and I love his big-heartedness. But I don't know what I was going to say.
Regarding devotee association.
Yeah, you should find some group of association mates. Not that you have to be associated with all of them.
Yeah.
Right.
You can only have a few friends, also, one may say. Not that you have close friends with everyone.
Right.
Yeah. And then do you have any advice for devotees who, like yourself, kind of feel a little bit more drawn to the life of solitude and the contemplative life?
Well, be part of that, do that. And if you can, it's not forbidden to be more inclined to be introverted.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like maybe it was once upon a time, it was sort of expected. I think I've heard like maybe Buri John Prabhu talked about this.
What did he say?
He said, this was years ago, but he said, there was a time in our movement where it was, I'm paraphrasing him, but he said, where it was believed that to be Krishna conscious, one had to be an extrovert.
Extrovert?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And he was kind of challenging that idea, saying, I think as we kind of have matured as a movement, we've realized like there's a place for introverts in Krishna consciousness too.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're doing a wonderful job with the podcasts.
Thank you.
So you have your new niche. And it's very popular and it's very well received.
Thank you.
As you announced so proudly in the beginning, the foremost podcast in ISKCON.
Yeah, number one.
I don't even know if it's true. I just say it. And hopefully...
If you say it enough, it'll become true.
It'll become true.
Probably is.
We don't have fact checkers. We don't have fact checkers verifying that. So until we do, we can just keep making that claim. But,
how long has it been, Manohar? It's 1 hour and 49 minutes. Wow, that went quick.
I wish I could think of more things to tell you.
We're extracting
No,
gems from you, Maharaj. Something I also ask devotees is that kind of what message do you have for our listeners listening in 2026? Because a lot of devotees will be listening to this, and I'm sure you have something to part with.
I'm thinking of something that one devotee said, something like, find your contribution that you can make to Prabhupada and the movement, and then do it.
Right.
I think it was the devotee who said that was a devotee who passed away. That they used to call him the merry devotee or the happy devotee.
Oh, Sridhar Swami.
Sridhar
the jolly
Swami.
The Jolly Swami.
Yeah.
He said something like that.
Mm.
Find what your contribution is and then do it.
Yeah. Did you ever struggle with like fear or worry in spiritual life?
Oh, yeah.
How did you
I
deal
feel
with that?
fear, and I make a prayer like, Prabhupada is here. Krishna, please be with me. I get fears sometimes when I'm going to bed and I'm all alone, and I just feel a fear, and I make those private prayers, praying to Krishna to protect me, praying to Prabhupada to please be with me. Private prayers. I think I made them up.
Can you say them again? Say the.
I've shared them with other devotees. They're too private, though. I won't mention them again.
Okay.
Yeah, I write a lot about that.
Do you have anything else?
Marge, we began talking about that sort of that first meeting with Prabhupada and that kind of that wanting that kind of
Yeah, special attention.
And I'm just wondering now. I guess has it been 60 years? I think if my math is maybe this is that was in 1966.
Yeah.
So is this the 60th? This will be 60 years.
60th years.
So in the 60 years that have passed since then, when you now from where you are and you look back on that day, how have you felt, or do you feel that attention from Prabhupada and from Krishna today?
Yeah, I do. I feel I get it when I write, and especially when I am able to, without too much repetition, write about Prabhupada again. I've written so much about him, but I can write about him again. And I've found ways to do that. So, keep on writing, keep on doing what you're doing. Keep on podcasting.
Thank you, Marge.
Keep on trucking.
Oh, the list, right?
I think we've got
Yeah,
I do.
copy.
No, we've got quite a bit here.
Yeah, but I think there's things that were jumped over.
Well, it's up to them.
Yeah.
No, for sure you can address
Yeah.
anything there that you jumped over.
Let's see. No, we actually have talked about quite a bit. Just some little details here. The first Sunday feasts and
Oh yeah, I don't know
ISKCON.
about that.
The origins of the famous ISKCON bullets. The Sunday Love
Sunday
Feast.
Love
and the-
Feast.
Oh, I know what I'd like to talk about. Making the record that we made.
The Happening album.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone told me that they loved the description I made of that.
Sure.
So I can just talk about that briefly.
Please, yeah.
Please, yeah.
So this man, Mr. Coleman, came to the storefront and heard us chanting there. With his wife he came. And he very much liked the chanting. And because he was a record producer, he recorded these albums on Happening Records. He recorded offbeat things, rock and roll and so forth. And he got to have an interview with Swamiji. And Swamiji told him, by then he was Prabhupada, I guess, that he'd like to make a record with Happening Records. So Mr. Coleman said he'd like to record Prabhupada doing a kirtan and giving a talk. So we made a date to go uptown in New York to a recording studio. And we went there at night into the city. And at once, first a rock and roll group was playing in the studio, so we had to wait. Hayagriva had brought a big drum, like they see them play in the bands, that he carried and pounded. So we had to wait to go on recording. So we went out to the streets of New York around Times Square, and Hayagriva was beating this drum, and we were all chanting, Hare Krishna, boom, boom, boom. And then we got a chance to record ourselves. And the rock and roll group that had just recorded say, we're the such and such band, who are you? And Hayagriva said, we're the Hare Krishna chanters. On the spot, he made up a name for who we were. So we went in and chanted. And the engineers heard us, and Mr. Coleman heard us from the engineer booth. And at first he said, wait, stop. The sound is a little thin. I want to add something to it. I added some sticks. So on the record you can hear there are some sticks playing, tick, 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 a bunch of sticks. And they make the sound better. So we're playing with these sticks, and Prabhupada during the day had met a boy who owned a kol, which is not a madranga, but a wooden drum like a madranga. And he asked him, please let us play this tonight in our recording. He said, I don't know, this is my special drum. And Prabhupada kind of charmed him and said, I'll give it back, I won't damage it. So he turned over his kol. And Prabhupada had a kol, and we had sticks, and there were about 20 of us. We had that many devotees then. And so we went into the studio late at night and played. He took one take, and then he said, wait a minute, that's not good enough. Then we took a second take. He said, good, that's it, keep playing. And we finished, and he said, that's good enough, that's wonderful. Now let's have a playback. So they played back, and the whole group inside the studio was going like this and chanting Hare Krishna with us. And Mr. Coleman was chanting, and the devotees were chanting while the playback was playing. And it was a great moment. It was like the triumph of Krishna consciousness and the Hare Krishna movement and Prabhupada's movement. And that was the recording of the Happening record one night in New York City.
Wow.
And then Mr. Coleman became Prasannalan Grata with Prabhupada because he delayed so long in producing the record. And Prabhupada had a special name for him, a bad name, I forget what he called him. He said, Mr. Coleman is stalling so much on producing this record. But finally he produced it, and it became very popular. The Beatles bought many copies of it themselves.
Wow.
And that record made us. But recording it was a blissful event.
Right.
I think there's a story about John Lennon and George Harrison playing that record like over and over again.
Yeah, through the Greek islands or something.
Yeah, I'd heard that. Yeah, and then did you also get to meet and chant with Allen Ginsberg? Were you?
Allen Ginsberg came into the storefront once when I was sitting right in front of him, and he asked me, what goes on here? I said, well, wait and see the Swami comes in, then you'll see everything. Then I turned back. I didn't want to make it seem like I was fascinated by Allen Ginsberg.
Right.
Although I was very much aware of what a big icon he was in his own way.
We were kind of playing it cool.
Yeah, after all, I'm a Hare Krishna devotee. I'm not an Allen Ginsberg follower. So then Prabhupada came in, and Allen Ginsberg stayed for the show of Prabhupada talking and chanting. But he was very friendly, and he had several intimate meetings with Prabhupada, didn't agree with him on things, but remained close to him. Mm-hmm. Allen Ginsberg claimed that Prabhupada once asked him to become the president of ISKCON. And he said, I don't think I'm fit to do that. But he claimed that he was asked to do that by Prabhupada.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So I didn't have much contact with him. Just that one time he asked me what's going on here.
Yeah.
Yeah. That, Prabhupada's exchanges with Allen Ginsberg and even that anecdote, I mean, of course, that's maybe an unverified claim. We'll never quite know, but that to me always like sort of highlights the side of Prabhupada that's very kind of innovative and avant-garde and very liberal.
Yeah.
If we can use that word. And then of course there's other parts of Prabhupada that highlight a sort of a more conservatism.
He was told by a German professor, stop your association with Allen Ginsberg. He's a very notorious man. He does bad things. And after that, Prabhupada wrote back to Hayagriva and he said, if you have any connection with the hippies, you should stop it now. And don't keep close to Allen Ginsberg.
So
he nipped it kind of.
Yeah. But it seems like there's both of those sides to Prabhupada. Yes,
Yeah.
There's like that more sort of, again, these terms are a little bit fraught, but if we use a term like liberal, there's a more liberal side of Prabhupada, but then you also kind of experienced a little bit more of a conservative side to Prabhupada as well, yeah?
Right.
Again, to whatever extent you're able to, but, for you, when you think about Prabhupada in terms of liberality and conservatism, where do you feel like he falls on that spectrum for you? You feel like he falls more on the liberal side of that spectrum, yeah?
Yeah. Just due to his association with Allen Ginsberg and the Beatles and Yoko Ono. Mm-hmm. He asked her, what philosophy do you follow? And she said, we don't follow any philosophy. We're just living.
What did you think of that?
I didn't think she was very respectful. But he was ready to expose himself to people like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you have any?
No, Mara, just been so fantastic.
This is,
Thank you so much for agreeing to do this and also giving us a lot of different gems of different thought and also pastimes and your own experiences, which is invaluable for us younger devotees to hear. So I really want to deeply thank you.
Yeah.
I thank you. There was a hesitation on my appearing on the show. I'm glad I got a second chance and you've hosted me.
Thank you so much. And
meant
thank you
to
to Baldev Prabhu and Manohar Prabhu
thank
for
you so much.
manning the cameras here. And again, if you want to see His Holiness Satsvarupa Maharaj's whole library and catalog of books, I'm going to put the link in the description. As he said, there's reprints of various books that, like Nimai, for example, Nimai and the Mouse, they've did it all in one shot now, which is, I didn't even know about that. So that's really cool.
It's a beautiful book.
Yeah, so everything we'll put the link in the description, so you can get those books. And also, is there anything else? Any other catalog or any other links or?
I just think of Amazon.
Amazon, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
That's probably
Amazon.
the best way to
the best way to get the book.
Yeah. Also, I do want to take this opportunity. I know that the last time we were here, we got to spend a little bit of time with you, and we're so appreciative of that. And we got to express some more personal things, which I'm not going to get into entirely here. But I do want to just reiterate, because I realize, maybe there are others that also feel this way. But I want to just reiterate again, thank you so much, Maharaj, for your contributions in so many ways, but especially your literary contributions.
Yeah.
And again, I'll I'm repeating myself a little bit, but I think it bears repeating that just your courage and you're sort of modeling that vulnerability and that authenticity, going into those places that not a lot of devotees were going into, sharing about struggles, sharing even about what we today might use the language of like mental health and emotional health struggles, which, you know, devotees like everyone else goes through that, you know?
Yeah.
For you to sort of normalize talking about that and giving us all hope that, you know, one could practice Krishna consciousness and still sort of be real about those struggles and deal with them and negotiate them and even share them with others. That has been so transformative and so hope giving. And I, you know, without exaggeration can say it's, your writing has gotten me through some of my darkest days personally. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I know I speak for others when I say that. So thank you. And please keep writing.
Yeah, I will. I've got more to show.
Thank you.
86 and going strong.
Yeah.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Amazing.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. Have a good night. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna Hare